Good morning, y'all. It's Sunday morning and hope y'all have had a great weekend. It's been beautiful here again. Yesterday got the tree cut down, that old dead Christmas tree. It's kind of bittersweet because that was mine and Joe's first Christmas tree. And it's one of those that had the ball. He planted it. So I don't mean to tear up. But it was dead and needed to be down. Joe knew it, but he just wasn't able to do it. So a friend and his wife came over, Gary and Donna, yesterday and took it down, and we worked and got all the mess cleaned up and hauled off. And so it looks much better out there. And my other friend, Jerry, is a woodworker, and he said, save me a 3-foot section from the bottom up and I'll turn you a bowl out of it. So sweet. So the tree wasn't rotten inside, and he came and got the log, and it's so sweet of him to try. And hopefully he can turn a bowl out of it. It's a pine tree of some sort. I don't remember if it was a blue spruce or what that we got that year, but hopefully it won't be too sappy that he can't work with it. But anyway, that's what he wanted to do, and that's so sweet. But today is Sunday and church day, and it's going to be a special day, and I'm excited about it. One of my brothers decided that he would visit church with me today, and when the other two found out about it last week, they decided they would come too. So all 3 of my brothers are coming to be in church with me today, and they said they thought it would just be special for all 4 of us to be in church together. And we've not been in church together other than a funeral, maybe close to 60 years, somewhere around there. So it's just a really special day. So I hope I don't get emotional on them today. But I decided to cook a good lunch for us. And they all decided to come back to the house with me, and we'd have lunch together. So I've got a roast that I put in the Instant Pot last night. So all I have to do is set it on low in the oven and let it be heating back up while I'm at church. And I made a salad last night and a mayonnaise cake. That's one of our family favorite recipes, the mayonnaise cake. I'm sure many of you know what that is. I don't think I've done a video on it. Maybe I will at some point. But today, all I have to do when I get home is I've already peeled the potatoes, and I've got them in this pot here soaking to get the starch out of them. And got my skillet out, Joe's special cornbread skillet to make the cornbread. I've got my fresh turkey crawl beans from the garden to cut them down. I cooked some of the purple whole peas last night from the garden this year, so all I have to do is warm those up. So it'll be quick. When I get home, I'll have it ready within 45 minutes to an hour after we get home. So I'm looking forward to being with them and having lunch together and worshiping our Lord together. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my Appalachian Kitchen. Today's Sunday, and I didn't go to church this morning. In fact, service is going on right now, and I've been listening to a musical group that we've had at church, and I'm so sorry I had to miss it this morning. They're called the Morrison Sisters or the Morrison Family. It's kind of like a bluegrass gospel group, and they are so good. Their music is so soothing. Look them up on the internet and listen to them. I think it may be Morrison Sisters, but their dad and mother sing with them too. So they were such a blessing. They're going to be there again tonight, so I'm hoping I can make it tonight so I can join in with that worship service and that special music. But the reason I stayed home today is I've worked the last 3 days staining the deck, and my back was just so sore last night and still sore this morning, and I also started developing a sore throat. and sniffles. So I decided I would stay home today in case I am coming down with anything. I don't want to spread it to anybody. But Ashley and James have been sick. In fact, James took Ashley to urgent care yesterday. She's really sick, and she's been sick for about a week, and they say it's just a virus that's going around that's really knocked her for a loop. So I'm making chicken noodle soup today for myself and for Ashley and James. I think Jason is going to stop by later today, so I'll send some home for him and Henry to eat on for the week too. So because of that, I'm making a double batch of chicken noodle soup. So I'm just bringing you along to show you how we do it. And I've got the Trinity, the onions, celery, and carrots already chopped up. And I use those baby peeled carrots. But you know, when you take them out of the package, they're all wet. So I like to rinse all of that off real good before I put them in my food, and that's what I've done. I've got some oil heating up in the skillet over here. In fact, it's smoking. Let me turn that down a little bit. And I'm going to add these 3 things in there and let them saute the chicken for about 5 minutes. That was hot, wasn't it? Now I'll let those saute, and while they're sauteing, I'm using a rotisserie chicken that I bought at Sam's last week. I deboned it and just put it in the freezer just to have on hand for things like this when I need some chicken to put in soup or a casserole or something, but I don't have to take the extra step and extra time to cook the chicken. So that's a good tip. If you get one of those rotisserie chickens at Sam's, they're so good. So I'm going to just chop this up a little bit more. Starting to feel better. I took some ibuprofen through the night and again this morning. So hopefully that will knock it out. And I've had the runny nose. I think that's allergies, hopefully. But there's so much sickness going around right now. Okay, the vegetables are starting to soften up, so I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic. And it calls for 3 cloves of minced garlic. That's for 1 batch, a normal recipe, but of course I'm doubling it, and I'm taking a shortcut, and I'm going to use this jarred garlic, minced garlic. So I think I'm going to add 3 cloves, maybe 6 teaspoons. Be good. I'm going to let that continue to saute for a little bit, and then I'm going to add the chicken. And church service is going on now. I muted the TV so it wouldn't interfere with this video, but Pastor has been preaching out of the book of Luke, and he's continuing that this morning. So once I get all of this together, I'll go sit back down and do a rewind on YouTube. That's so wonderful that YouTube live streams services, and then you can go back and watch it later when you have time to sit there and do it. So I'm so thankful for that option that we have today, and all of that came about because of COVID. So I'm glad those days are gone, but I'm glad that we have this technology now, so you don't feel like you're missing out. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and add this chicken now. It calls for 1 pound of diced chicken. So I weighed this, and it's about 1 3/4 pounds. So I think that'll be fine for a double batch. Homemade chicken soup just hits the spot whenever you're sick, or anytime really. Now, since the chicken is already cooked, I don't have to wait for it to cook any longer. I'm just just getting it mixed up good with these vegetables and giving it a good stir. And now I'm going to add the chicken broth. And it calls for 8 cups of chicken broth. So that will be 16 cups for this double batch. What I like to use is this broth base. It's powdered. It's a teaspoon per cup. And I've measured in this 4-cup thing, I put in 4 teaspoons. So I'm going to go ahead and add this, and then I'm just going to add the rest of the water and add the extra teaspoons of chicken base to the pot. Okay, got the chicken in there, and so now it's time to add the spices. So I'm going to add bay leaf, and I'm running low on bay leaf, and mine are in little pieces, so I'm going to add, for 2 batches, probably a good little handful here, like maybe that's too much, like this right here. And 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, so that will make 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. Let's see. 1 teaspoon of dried parsley. I'm using my own parsley that I grew and dried, and I'm just going to crush that up enough to make 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of parsley. Salt and pepper to taste, and I made a note that I used 1 teaspoon of each. So, where's my teaspoon? So, that'll be 2 teaspoons of each. 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of pepper, and then I'll bring that to a boil, and while it's boiling, I'm going to cook the egg noodles. And it calls for 2 cups of egg noodles. And I'm using the Mueller brand. I'm using the Mueller extra wide egg noodles. And I've already got a pot over here. I'm waiting for it to start boiling. And I will add the egg noodles and cook them. And once they're cooked, I'll add them to the soup. So we'll be back later. Hey, again, back in my kitchen. I've had some viewers request more recipes using sourdough, so I fed my sourdough last night, so it's ready to make something with. I've got 2 different sourdoughs, and the one that I'm using for this recipe is the one that you make with just flour and water, or I made mine with flour and buttermilk. So I think the buttermilk adds a little richness and a different texture than just the water. But anyway, I'm going to make sourdough blueberry muffins with a crumb topping. These are so delicious. And so I thought I'd go ahead, since I had the starter fed, and make this video for you that are asking for more sourdough recipes. So in this bowl, I started out with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar, but I'm going to only add half a cup of sugar and a half a cup of monk fruit. I like to cut down on the sugar where I can, but I don't really like all artificial sweetener. So I just do it half and half. So I'm going to do a half a cup of granulated sugar and a half a cup of monk fruit. And I'm using a 1/4 cup measuring thing here. Okay. Then it calls for 2 teaspoons of baking powder. What I'm doing is adding all the dry ingredients first here. So I've got my baking powder, and it calls for 2 teaspoons. And it calls for 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So this end is soda, this end is salt. 1/2 teaspoon of each. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Got my cornstarch here. 1 tablespoon. And we're going to add the zest of 1/2 of a lemon. Now wash the outside of this lemon really good and just use a little mini grater and grated that up. And I have it right here on the board. So in it goes. Now I'm going to stir this up a little bit. To kind of get all of that mixed together good. I've got a pot of chicken noodle soup going here on the oven. I'm waiting for it to come to a boil. I'm waiting for it to come to a boil. And also I need to cook the noodles, so I've got to keep my eye on that. But anyway, I'm stirring this dry ingredients together to get it just mixed up real good. And then I've got a cup of blueberries. These have been frozen. I just took them out of the freezer. And I'm just going to sprinkle them in here to get them really good and coated with this flour mixture. I have the dry ingredients together and we're setting it aside with the blueberries in there with it. Let's make the crumb topping. And to make that, let's see, we do 3 tablespoons of melted butter, which I've melted right here and putting in the bowl. And we do 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. So I'm going to mix the sugar and monk fruit. This is a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup monk fruit. So then we need 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. Let's get this over out of the way. So I've got 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour right here. And we're just going to mix this together. I'll use a spoon. And it's going to be real crumbly, and that's what you want to put on top of the muffins. Okay, so there is the crumb topping. We're going to set it aside, and now we're going to stir up the wet ingredients. There's my bowl. So the wet ingredients called for a stick of melted butter, and I've got that in here. We're going to add 2 large eggs. Okay, 2 large eggs. 1/2 cup of sourdough starter. This is my good flour and buttermilk starter. and you can see the consistency of it. So I've got a 1/2 cup measuring thing here, so I'm going to measure out a 1/2 cup. All right, and that goes in. Another spoon. Get all of that out. Okay. Let's see. 3 tablespoons of sour cream. There's 1. I had cornstarch on this tablespoon, so I didn't want to dip it inside the sour cream. So I just put the first batch in there just to see how much it would take. So this is 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of sour cream. Then we add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I need to wash off my hands. One teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to stir this up until it's smooth, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've stirred this up until it's nice and smooth, and I'm going to add it to the dry ingredients. I'm going to dig a well here in the middle and pour all that in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to stir this until it all comes together. And I've got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. And I'm using the jumbo muffin tins right here. And I've sprayed it with the cooking spray that's for baking that has the flour in with it. So I've got that ready. And I'll stir these up, and it's going to be a thick batter. So once I get this stirred up gently, I'll come back and show you. Okay, I've got this stirred up good, and I've just kind of gone through it to make sure I didn't see any dry ingredients lingering behind. And it's almost like a bread dough consistency. So don't be alarmed when you mix this up. It's not a normal muffin texture recipe, but it's going to be very thick. So I'm going to fill these muffin cups up. To about 3/4 of the way. Those blueberries look so good in here. Just about like that. I'll finish filling these, and then we'll add the topping. Now I've got the muffin tins loaded, and it made 6 of these jumbo muffins. If you were making the regular muffin size, it would make 12. So I've got the 6 filled up. I'm going to press this crumb topping on top of each one. Put a big spoonful on there and kind of press it in. I hope y'all can see in the camera what I'm doing. We're going to bake these at 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes. Just check it, and whenever you stick your knife or a toothpick in and it comes out clean, they're done. So let's get these in the oven. Okay, Jason arrived, and the muffins are out of the oven. So he's going to taste one to see what he thinks about it.
Okay, and I've cut a cross section off of this muffin here. Mmm. 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 It's a great mixture of tart and sweet.
Yep, and I used that monk fruit in it, half monk fruit and half sugar, so hopefully it didn't affect the taste at all, did it?
No, and that lemon zest gives it a really bright flavor and tastes very good. It's a great blueberry muffin, and you can see that it's got a really good crusty top here.
I'm loading some up for take home for him and Henry, and he's going to drop some off to Ashley and James and Teddy too for me.
Yeah, delicious.
Thank you, James. Now, James is a good cook too. He's a good food critic.
He is.
I meant you. I didn't mean to say. James is Jason's twin, but I say James so much it comes out first. I'm sorry, Jason. Well, you guys, I'm sorry that I didn't film putting the noodles in the soup, but they cooked up. I let them boil for about 8 minutes and then drained them and added them to the hot soup, and then it was just ready to serve. And I've already eaten a bowl, and it's so good, it just hits the spot. I sent a lot home with Jason for him and Henry to eat on this week, and Jason took a big bowl of it over to James and Ashley and Theodore. They're the ones that's sick, so I hope they enjoyed it and kind of help Ashley get better. She's the worst one of them all, but anyway, this is delicious soup, and it just hit the spot for a cool rainy day. A cool front is blowing in, and we had just some wind to come through that was so strong. I thought it was going to blow a tree over, but thankfully it didn't that I know of. I haven't been outside yet. But the muffins, I don't know why, but they kind of ran over the top instead of poofing up, but they were still very, very good. Next time I'll make them in a regular muffin tin instead of jumbo. That might make a difference on how they looked, but they sure did taste good. So I sent all those home with Jason and some to share with James. So I'm feeling better. My throat has not been hurting anymore today. The weather has calmed down for the most part. So I think I'm going to get ready and head on back to church tonight. So I missed being there this morning. And I hope y'all have a blessed day, blessed night. Keep your eyes on the sky, the eastern sky, because it's about to be split wide open with the soon coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I hope you're ready. Today's the day of salvation if you don't know him. I love you. Keep walking in the light.